Hey everybody, Francisco with the Dev Life. In this video, I'm going to show you how to use Git to manage branches, create new branches, merge branches, and make sure that you don't lose your changes when you get somebody else's code. All right, let's get to it. This might not matter, but in one of my previous videos, I showed you how to generate an SSH key to connect to Bitbucket, and also how to install a Git client. As my preference, I use SmartGit on my day-to-day. So that's what we are going to be using for our tutorial here. I'm gonna change this to the dark mode because we're cool here. Let's go ahead and go to Preferences, User Interface, and let's say to use dark. Oh, I wonder if I have to restart it. Yep, I do have to restart it for changes to take effect. Okay, so now it's dark. Oh, cool, we're in business now. I will leave a link to the video that I just mentioned below, but pretty much what I did is that I created a demo repository, which is the default master branch, and I went ahead and I added or updated the git ignore file to make sure that we don't get any files that we don't want to be committed to the repo. I also created a web API project in Visual Studio, which is what we are going to use to sort of make changes and make sure that we can keep track of the changes that have been done. Okay, so the first thing we are going to do is let's go ahead and let's not be connected to the master branch directly, which is a big no-no. When you're working in a team, you don't want to do that. So let's go ahead and stop tracking. And I'm gonna go ahead and rename this, and I'll rename it to Francisco Dev. And let's go ahead and push this to the dev branch. So this is pretty much, so what we are doing here is that we are creating a copy of the master branch, and we are going to be calling that copy of the branch dev. So let's go ahead and push. So now if we look in Origin, now besides having the master branch, we also have the dev branch as well. And now I'm going to go ahead and push my local branch to Origin. Now you can see that we have a branch called Francisco/dev, which is my branch. And this is where I'm going to be making code changes before I commit them. Okay, so let's go ahead and make a small change. So let's go ahead and open the forecast controller. You see that we have some code, but you know what? I don't like the way that this code is being done. I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of this, and I'm gonna get rid of this and just have this be part of the controller. Okay, so now we definitely made some changes here, and if we go to SmartGit, you can also see the changes here as well. You can see all the stuff that we changed. So let's go ahead and commit these changes to my local branch. I'm not going to push them yet to Origin. I'm just going to commit them locally. Okay, so now these changes are in my branch, but let's pretend that we have another user who at the same time is making changes to this branch as well. So let's go ahead and pretend that this user is going to copy the dev branch. So he's going to start off with a brand new copy of the dev branch. And let's say that this guy is called Johnny Depp. So Johnny Depp is going to check out this branch. And if we go to Visual Studio now this looks as it looked originally when we created the dev branch, right? So let's say that he likes the way that things are laid out, but here he wants to add a comment here to remind him to do things here at a later point. Let's just say that he's going to connect to the DB. And let's say that he is going to commit and he is going to push these changes to Origin. Let's say that he already tested the changes that he made, right? He added a comment. I don't think that's going to impact whether the project builds or not, but he's gonna push that change to Origin. So let's commit and let's go ahead and push as well. So to do that, all you gotta do is right click and push. We have two people working on the same project in the same code base, and they have different changes going along in their own different branches. So what is the main use of having different branches? Okay, so the purpose for this is that you can have a branch where you are continually doing work, and it might take you maybe 1 or 2, maybe 3 days for you to complete that work, but those changes are not ready yet to be put in the main branch, in this case the dev branch, which is used by multiple developers. So what you want to do, keep those code changes in your own branch until you are ready to commit them. In this case, we're pretending that just by adding the comment, Johnny Depp is ready to commit his code changes to the main branch. So let's go ahead and pretend that now I'm on a different computer, I'm on a different part of the world maybe, and I'm pulling in those changes that Johnny Depp made. Before we do that, you see that there is a yellow number 1 or orange, I don't know what the color is, but in SmartGit that means that I need to push changes to origin. That means that I've made commits, 1 commit in this case, and I haven't pushed those changes to origin or to the server, the main server that's on the cloud. So let's go ahead and do that, and it's very easy for you to do it here. So you right click and again and push. So now we push those changes. Now those changes live in the server that everybody's sharing. Now I want to copy JD's changes, and to make sure that I have the latest changes, I will right click on origin and select pool and fetch only. And this is going to sort of sync to make sure that I have the latest catalog of all the changes that happened since I last synced. Then here I want to merge the changes that Johnny Depp made into my branch. So I'm going to right click and I'm going to click merge. So what this is going to do is grab the changes that he has and is going to bring them over to my branch and merge them. So I'm going to go ahead and click merge. And yes, I'm going to click create merge commit. And now you can see here that I have 2 commits that I can push. So meaning that something did change. So now if I open the code, I should be able to see the comment that he left. And in fact, you can see that my changes are there. And you could also see the note that he left, or the comment that he left, that JD left for himself. Just for the sake of having a backup, I am used to pushing my changes as often as possible. So as soon as I make a commit, I like to go ahead and push those changes to the remote server, or to the cloud, or however, to origin, however you want to refer to it. Just in case that something bad happens to my computer, it breaks, or I spill my coffee on it, that I've never ever done. But in case that ever happens and I lose my code, at least I won't lose it entirely. I will lose it only on my computer, but there will be a backup on the remote server. So let's go ahead and click push. So that will push my changes to origin. Now let's run through another scenario. Okay, so now what we did is that I made changes, Johnny Depp made changes, and then we merged them and we put them together without losing each other's work. So now let's say that your lead or your manager comes over and tells you that you need to put that code away because a critical bug came up and they want you to put this code on hold and start working on this bug. How do you do that? So if you're going to be working on fixing a bug separate than the story that you're working on or the feature that you are working on, obviously what you need to do is to start with a copy of the main branch, meaning the dev branch, and start doing your work on top of that. So let's go ahead and do that. How would you do that? How would you create a branch and also preserve the changes that you had? Okay, so the way to do that using SmartGit, you double click on the branch that you want to copy. You make sure that you uncheck track remote branch and you give this a name. So I'm going to still name it Francisco / and I'm going to leave the dev there just to sort of remind me that this branch started from the main dev branch. So that way I know what is in there. And then I'm also going to add a reference to the bug that I'm fixing, bug XYZ. And that would be sort of like the ticket number that you might be using on Jira or Azure DevOps or whatever you might be using to track your tickets. So now once I check out that branch, you can see that it falls under my name. Now if we go look at the code, look, the code went back to looking how it looked before my changes and Johnny Depp changes went into this branch or went into the branch where we merged our changes. So that's exactly what we wanted. We don't want any other code changes to live here. Now I'm going to work on fixing the bug. And this bug is an easy one to fix. So all we have to do to fix this bug is we have to add one more element to this array. And we are going to add chilled. And maybe what I should do, just because I have a little bit of OCD, I'm just going to go ahead and just make this, set this up this way. So we have only one element per line in this array. Okay, so these are the code changes and this fixes the bug. Okay, so now we are going to go ahead and commit these changes. You know, just as a good practice, you always want to tag the ticket that you are working in or that you are fixing in your commit. So fix, and then you give it the ticket number or the ticket ID, and then a small description. So let's go ahead and commit. Now, remember, if you don't see that this is connected, so for example, the equal sign equal origin, that means that this local branch has a matching branch on the remote server. So we want to do the same thing for here. What would happen in this scenario is that if you lost your computer and let's say that you wrote, I don't know, that you touched 100 files in this bug fix. If you lost your computer, you would lose those changes. You would lose all that work. That's why I like to always continuously push to origin. So that way there's always a backup of the code changes that I've made. And a way to tell whether it's synced up or to tell whether you even have a copy of those code changes on the remote server is to just look at this. If this means that this branch only lives on my computer, so I want to make sure that I send it or create a copy on the remote server. So see, push succeeded. Now that when I right clicked and selected push, and now you can see that now we have two branches under my name. We have dev and we have the bug fix that we did. So here's another good practice that you'll see if you work as a professional engineer. Once you are ready and you tested your changes, for example, in this case, this bug fix, and you want to get those changes into the main branch, being the dev branch. The reason being that there could be deployment pipelines attached to that branch, meaning that as soon as you put new code in that branch, you know, the wheels start spinning and then suddenly your code is deployed to where your QA team can test those changes and verify that you in fact did fix that issue, that extreme weather issue. So the way that it's usually done, that I've done it in many places, or the process that is followed, is that you go to whatever program or whatever service you're using for source control. It could be Bitbucket, GitLab, GitHub, and I don't know what else is out there. But you usually go to create a pull request, and you are going to create a pull request. So what a pull request means is that you are requesting for your changes to be incorporated into whatever branch you indicate. And there could be different rules set depending on the different branch or stagings or whatever the process might be. But the main point for you to create a pull request is to give other team members a chance to review your code. So for example, in this case, I'm going to go from my branch, Francisco, dev, bug, whatever ticket number you're working, or whatever you name your branch where you know the fix for that issue is. And then you select the branch that you want to put your changes into. Usually you can add reviewers here. Since I'm the only developer here, I'm not able to do that. But usually you also type a description here or the code changes that you made, just to kind of let the team know what you are fixing, what changes you made, or if you want to point something out that this could also break something else, or things to watch out for. Once you're satisfied with this, you click on create pull request. And when this happens, team members who care about this are probably going to get notified via email or any other means that might be set up. So once I get the notification and I come in here to review the code changes, this is the screen that you will see. So here you can see the file that was changed, and you could see what were the updates that were made. So for example, here you can see that these two lines were deleted and they were replaced by this new content in green. If the changes look good, then your teammates can approve and they can merge. So I'm going to go ahead and merge this pull request. Okay, so now I can go back to continue working on my previous ticket that I was working on the original ticket. I open my code and it's exactly how I left it. The thing is that now I don't have the code that fixed that issue, the XYZ bug. I want to get those changes into my branch now. This is the way that you would do it. So we are going to go ahead and again sync up, and you're going to get used to doing this when you do it often. So you do pull, fetch only again, and now you want to get the changes from the dev branch into your local branch. So you're going to right click and merge. And in this case, we are getting a conflict. This is one of the cool tools that SmartGit offers, that it shows you a way for you to look at what the issue might be before you actually commit the code or merge anything, because it's harder sometimes to undo things. So let's double click on this file that's generating the conflict and let's see how we can mediate it. Okay, so it looks like what's happening is that if you look here on the left hand side, this is our branch, and this is the branch that's on origin or on the remote server. So we want to make sure that we don't lose their changes, and at the same time we don't lose our changes. So let's go ahead and do this. Let's go ahead and take theirs. But let's go ahead and delete this code that we don't want, because this, we previously removed it, and this merge is adding it back. So that looks the way it should look, because now we have their code changes that they added, and over here on our end, we're still keeping the comment that Johnny Depp left, so that's still there. And the stuff that I got rid of earlier is also gone. So okay, so let's go ahead and close this. Let's save it. Let's go ahead and stage it as well. But before we commit, let's go ahead and make sure that everything looks good in Visual Studio. Okay, so that is what I expected. We have the new element that we added to fix the bug. We got rid of the logger stuff. It's no longer there. And we have Johnny Depp's change as well. Okay, so it seems like we are good to go here. So I'm going to go ahead and click commit, and automatically you'll get a description of or a message to put out there, which is also noting that there were conflicts on this file. So I'm just going to go ahead and click commit push. And that, again, like I mentioned before, that will push the changes to the remote server. Okay, so far we got the changes from the main branch, but I still have to finish the ticket that I started working on. And luckily my ticket is going to be easily fixed just by simply changing this number here to 7, which will give us a weekly range or a week range. And we'll go ahead and save that. And if we go back to SmartGit, you'll see that we have one change that hasn't been committed yet. So I'm going to go ahead and commit. And this is going to be a feature. And we are going to say weekly weather report. And we are going to commit and push at the same time. Now, the last thing I got to do is go ahead and create a pull request. And again, this is going to be from my dev branch into the dev branch. And so see here, Bitbucket it's smart enough to see the different commits that have gone into this PR, which is awesome. PR is pull request, by the way. At least you don't have to type it. So this is great. So I'm going to go ahead and create the pull request, and my work is done. Hopefully you found the video helpful. And if you have any questions or feedback, please leave those in the comments. It could also be questions that I didn't answer in the video, but you think I should have. So please go ahead and leave those in the comment section. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you get notified when we post new videos. Catch you in the next one. No, I think it was great. Yeah, I wish somebody, would have made a video like this when I was struggling to create branches and do all that stuff back in the day. Oh, by the way, don't forget to watch the video. That one? No, wait, that one? Yeah, that one. Don't forget to watch that one. Now you see that we have a branch called Francisco slash